everybody, and welcome back to What's Cooking with Hema. Today we'll be cooking kuluʻau or Lūʻau stew. Lūʻau stew consists of about 8 main ingredients. So lau Kalo, ginger, onions, garlic, beef, salt, broth. And these different ingredients then are added together in different parts to create what Hawaiians call kuluʻau. Before I get into the ingredients and how to use them and or break them up to then use them, I am showing you a configuration or Tiana's configuration of a Lau Kalo and compared to your hand or in the Spock figure and all the different parts of the Lau Kalo. Now we are actually getting into the cleaning process of the Lau Kalo. We are cutting off the velau, which is the end tip, and separating the Hāhā or the petiole from the leaf. Please use a separate container and place the Lau Kalo neatly into a bowl so that it is easy for you to separate once you need to. The meat I am using here is a roast rib or a rib roast, and I am cutting them into even half-inch cuts, long, and then I will poke and or cut them into tiny blocks, and these tiny blocks are then put into a separate container or another bowl. The cutting process, you should always pay attention to your knife, to your fingers, and to your surroundings, making sure that you don't cut yourself or anyone around you. Nobody wants a bloody Lūʻau stew. The knife I'm using is like $11 from Sam's Club, and they come right out of the package very sharp. I sharpened it about once since I began the What's Cooking with Hema video series, so they hold their sharpness for quite some time. And I think it's not Kirkland, but whatever the Costco's or Sam's Club brand is. So this is about 4 pounds of meat, and it'll happily serve the 8 members of my household. I'd like to send a shout out and a great thanks to my sister for helping me out with this video. So we are cleaning the Hāhā, the petioles, for the kalo or from the kalo. To clean off the outer skin is like to peel a banana, and you're gently peeling it back or stripping it from its inner core, and it will be used as a filler in our kuluʻau. Yeah, so making sure that your area around you is clean, having a bag to put the rubbish pieces in so that you can put them in your garden after. Use it as mulch. The cutting of the meat kind of takes a long time, so that's why I would prefer you keep about 3 hours on the side to actually prepare this meal. Now I'm actually cutting the rump roast from the cow, so this is a beef rump roast, and I use this because it's a more meatier cut than the actual rib roast that I was using before. So I only use about 10 to 20% fat to about 80% actual lean meat, and that's to balance out the flavor that you want. So cutting the Hāhā, the petioles, into inch and a half cuts, washing the lau outside, washing them not with Dawn soap but with your hand, gently washing off any slug trails or whatever you find on the lau is what you want to do. Onions are not called for in most recipes, but I put onions and garlic in most of the recipes that I cook for my family. And I'm cutting about 3 onions and cutting them into even slices, not dicing them. So you don't want them too small. You want to just cut them long. So the onions will actually be used as a filler. And again, putting them in a separate container, and now we'll begin to cook. So I put my large burner on high. I get a wide, not too deep pot, and I spray a little bit of Pam olive oil on the bottom, just so the meat doesn't stick when you're browning it. And in goes the 4 pounds of beef. And we'll leave it on high for about 35-40 minutes. So we don't actually touch the heat gauge until we actually get about done cooking the lau. So we're putting about a handful, so a kahunahuna or a kapi of salt. Not too much and not too little. And this will help the flavor of the meat come out when you are browning it. Yep, get it all on there. Then you give it a nice stir. Yep, as you can see, the meat is already starting to brown. Some people brown their meat, others don't. I brown it just to keep it firm when actually boiling it later on. So now that this has been time-lapsed for about 10 minutes. So it took about 10 minutes to brown all this meat on high. Now we'll add our beef broth. You can use beef, you can use chicken, you can use turkey. I use beef in this one. We're going to use 2 16 to 24 ounce containers. So if you're using 16, you can use 3. I'm using 2 24 ounce boxes of beef broth. Doesn't matter the type of beef broth you use. You can use organic, you can use low sodium, and the brand I'm using is Best Yet. Now that I cut the ginger, I'm going to give it a good squeeze and throw it in there. And a handful of garlic. Not pressed, not cut, whole. Peeled, of course. So once it starts to bubble and boil, you can just cover it. Now we're going to prepare our lau. And our lau goes into a deep pot, about 2/3 full of water, and it'll boil for about 10 to 15 minutes before you actually put the lau inside. Make sure that it's a rolling boil. So it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to actually get it to a rolling boil from room temperature water. And once you get the lau inside, then it'll take another 35 to 45 minutes to actually get the lau to the consistency that you would need it to not make your throat itchy. Now you open up the pot of beef and you're going to add onions. You stir the onions in there evenly. Make sure you watch out because the pot and the stove is hot, and you do have a pot of boiling water next to you. So please be advised to stay precautious. Right, now you're going to give your lau a good stir. Bring the bottom lau to the top and the top to the bottom. Open up your beef pot and you're going to put your hāhā into the mix. And mix them in. Oh, doesn't that look good? Yep, give it a good stir. Alright, now it's time to check our lau. And as you can see, our lau has gotten a little darker. It's not done just yet. So we're going to let it sit a little bit more. Alright, so about 15 minutes has passed by. And we're pulling them out. Oh yeah. It's such a beautiful, elegant smell too. So this is about 4 pounds of uncooked lau that went into this pot. So we fill up our bowl with cold water. We're going to begin by pressing balls. And just letting you know, this is fresh off the pot, so it is hot. It is very, very hot. All those years of Lau. Right, after you make the balls, now we're going to cut them. This is to get it to that consistency that we want when we add it into our our stew pot. You take that ball and you add it right into the pot. Be careful not to burn yourself. You're going to give it a nice stir. So out of the 4 pounds, you get about five or so good size bowls of lau or lūʻau. And you stir it right into your pot. And you're going to let that sit and boil for another 25 to 30 minutes on high. And once you get that done, you put rice in your bowl. You give yourself about 1.5 scoops of kūlūʻau. You cut up a little bit more onions. Throw a little bit of Hawaiian salt on top of the onions. And if you watch my previous videos, you'll know how to make some waini oi or Hawaiian chili pepper water. So you'll take the chili pepper water, you put it into a shot glass, and that's how you're going to enjoy this dish. Please subscribe to Nāulu Center. I'd like to mahalo you for watching my video. Please go check out the rest of the videos on our Nāulu Center YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And check me out on What's Cooking with Hema next week. Aloha.